Coach, obviously the NFL draft taking over center stage in Green Bay. We could see as many as 17 Buckeyes drafted. You're like these kids' dads. You bring them here, and just your feelings with such a big week at hand.
Excited for them. A big part of what they wanted to accomplish by coming to Ohio State was an opportunity to get to the NFL. That's going to happen for these guys this weekend. And I'm excited to see where they all go. It's all about the opportunity. Some have worked really, really hard to find themselves, where they are in terms of these mock drafts and how some of these organizations have, rated them in terms of value. And I've just got so much feedback from our guys and also just from the personnel in the NFL. Just, what Buckeye Nation already knows. These guys they're pros already. And so fired up to see, how the next chapter of their life begins. They just finished one and now they're about to start another. So, excited for them and looking forward to see where they all end up.
You're a guy who spent time in the National Football League coaching. Analytics are so big. But sometimes, you look at what these guys did. They won a national title. How much should be based? And I don't know, what would you say to the pro scouts that are these teams that are looking at your guys? They're proven winners, aren't they?
Yeah, every program says that's what they want. Not every organization drafts that. If you want to have culture, if you want to have, guys who are going to make your locker room better, all of those things, then you have to draft those type of players. And I think the one thing that I shared with, all the 160 some odd people that were here the day of the pro day was these guys are already pros. Ohio State's, fan base is just under 12 million. The Dallas Cowboys is 8.5. So these guys know what it's like to play on a big stage. They know what it means to play at a place where, you have to perform and what comes with it. And how do they handle themselves like pros off the field? So there's a lot of great players out there across the country. But these guys, the risk of drafting a Buckeye, is very minimal, in terms of, to the organization. Now, where they value them, that's their decision. But there's going to be a lot of our guys that got drafted in this year's draft class. They're going to play football for a long time in the NFL.
We could see as many as 17. 15 would tie the record set by Georgia in 2022. Ohio State did have the record with 14 with 2000 Jim Tressel's club. What do you think? We're going to see the record fall this weekend?
I think it'll be interesting to see, how some of those guys. I'm interested to see where the first couple 2-3 rounds shake out, but also going into the last day. Those are some of the biggest decisions these organizations will make. And we have some really good players who are projected to get drafted late, in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round. So, that's important. There'll possibly be some undrafted free agents. And there does get to be a point where it actually makes a little bit more sense to go as an undrafted free agent as opposed to getting, drafted maybe real late in the last round. Because you actually get a chance to pick, because so much of it is the fit and knowing what the organization is looking for, what the depth chart looks like. So that's a big part of this weekend is the right fit for our players.
Ryan, the one thing I look at with your program, you obviously recruit the top talent all over the country, but that's just one piece of the puzzle. The other part, and the biggest part, is how you develop these kids. How proud are you of the fact that, you could see 17 guys drafted? That's a credit to what you guys do when you get them in here. And it seems to me, if you want to play in the NFL, Ohio State's the place to go.
Well, that's a big part of our recruiting conversations is the development part. And what's cool about this draft is, every position is going to get represented. I think other than, the specialists. You think about, quarterback, you got Will, you have the 2 running backs, you have G. Scott, you have the linemen, linebackers, safeties, corners. You just every position is being represented. So we talk to our recruits. We talk about coming here to Ohio State, which isn't for everybody, thinking big, and that if you come in with that type of mindset that you want to be developed at a high level and you have an elite mindset, you're going to be in a locker room a bunch of guys that have the same mindset. So that's what it comes down to. And to see these guys, come back for their senior year, put in another year, just going to make them better pros. And I use the example all the time of Devon Hamilton or Terry McLaurin, who did come back for fifth years. And you can argue, all right, how much did they move up in the draft? But that wasn't really the important thing. The important thing was that when they got to the NFL, they were ready. And now you're seeing two guys make their second contract and really make a big score.
How much does it feed itself with the success? You put 17 guys in. I mean, it is a recruiting tool, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But so much of it now is like, in the way things are going, you have to follow through with what you say in recruiting. You can't tell them one thing and then they get to your program and something else happens, because now with the portal, they can just walk out the door at any moment. So you really have to follow through and you have to do what you say you're going to do. And, this is a great testimony to our program, to the fact that we develop. And we also say it's going to be hard. Nothing about this has been easy for our guys. Ohio State's always had talent. And these guys are no different. They have a lot of talent. But it's going to be ultimately how they become as pros and players, and their development has been significant. And I say to families and recruits all the time that I think we develop the elite athlete better than anybody else in the country. We understand how to bring along talented young men, and you're going to see that in this draft.
How do you handle the draft? I mean, as I said, you brought these kids here. You take ownership of them, and I mean, are you like a dad? You get giddy, and you just how closely will you watch this week?
Yeah, we'll be watching. I mean, it's a long weekend, so there'll be times where we're sitting in front of the TV and watching, and then other times where life gets in the way. But we'll be watching everything very, very closely. And like again, the message I have is, it's exciting for our players. But it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is what they do with the opportunity. And quickly, it's going to go from, okay, the draft is over. Now we got to get back to work. And that's right around the corner.
Last couple things. You coached the position in the NFL. You played the position. How is Will Howard going to be as a pro quarterback? Does he have what it takes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he certainly does. Yeah, he you can just, like, if you watch the Gruden thing, it just, I mean, you can tell right away. He's got a great football IQ. He's got great positivity. He's a mature man who is going to walk into an organization and just be a pro day one. And the ball, really has been coming out of his hands better and better. And you can see it by the way he played and his accuracy and efficiency in the playoffs. I think the best thing that ever happened to Ohio State was Will Howard. I think the best thing that ever happened to Will Howard was Ohio State. I think it worked hand in hand, and I think now he's ready to go. Jump into an organization and take it and run, because he's going to learn fast, and the guys are going to really gravitate to him.
I've said I would love to see him in Cleveland. That would be kind of fun to see a guy who won a national title playing just up the road, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I got a lot of respect for Coach Stefanski and what they do. And yeah, to think that, you'd have Joe Burrow in Cincinnati and Will Howard in Cleveland would be something for sure.
What are the pro scouts? Last thing, what do you hear about Will? I mean, where do you think he'll go? Some are saying he could be a second round pick.
Yeah, it's been interesting. There are some different quarterbacks in this draft, so everybody has differing opinions, and beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So for those who need quarterbacks, early on, I think there's a great chance that he would go, but we'll just have to see. And then I know, he won't go. It won't be on the board very long, I can tell you that.